why is they're doing it. We have a poll running currently asking at their peak who is the better manager. 61% say Fergie, 39% saying Arsene Wenger. And Football Gossiper here says Terry, really? No, I'm being serious, bro. I'm genuinely being serious. If you want to challenge it, then tell me why you're challenging it. I'd love to hear what your challenge is rather than laughter, because laughter tells me I don't like what Terry's saying, but I have no way to rebuttal it. So come on here, my friend, and let us know what you think. Ghost here says, I genuinely believe Man City will finish this season with an FA Cup. I hope not. I hope they end up with nothing. I don't. Do you know what's really underappreciated about this City team so far this year? You men are on for a treble. Legitimately on for a treble.
Yeah, and we don't mention that, mate. We don't mention that. We don't want to get carried away. We're on with the next game. That's all we care about. Keep on rolling, man. Keep on rolling.
Yeah, well, again, I know you lot don't want to talk about it, but it's there, and it's why I need this weekend to happen.
Yeah, but Liverpool was on for the quad last year. Remember that?
Look
how that turned up. So I don't want to get involved in that. So and look where they are now. So it's jinxed all that talk for me. You're not getting no City fan that's walking around talking about trebles. Let me tell you that.
There's a few on TikTok I see, Steve.
It's TikTok though, isn't it? Fuck me, Teddy. You might as well go to the nursery school and ask them.
No, I think they're the most sincere City fans to listen to. Those Hamza and all them man over there doing their. We've got a United guy over there, bro. And every time United score a goal, he does a TikTok video saying we're winning the quad. It's like, what are you doing? We can't even win. We can't win the quad because we're not even in the Champions League. So we can't win the treble either. Like, there's only one treble. There's only one quad, in my opinion. I'm like, please stop. Please stop doing it. But there's a super chat here, actually, that I'm going to go to first. It says, in an interview with Thierry Henry, he said that the United-Arsenal rivalry pushed both clubs to extraordinary levels. Never repeated. United's 99 treble and our 49-game unbeaten run. Competition is a good thing. Exactly. You need that rivalry. And there's no doubt that what Pep and Klopp were doing pushed each other. You know, and that's why they got those great records and those points totals. And look, there's arguments for that. It's like, you know, the fitness levels now on the squads are deeper than they were in the 90s. So it's easier to get higher points than it was back then. That's why I don't like to play down eras, because that means you're discrediting the brilliance of this City team and the greatness they're creating. I'm just going to look at it in the era it's in, and then you look at the achievements in terms of trophies, and it's sensational. But competition is needed. Otherwise, you go stale, really. You can go stale. There's no doubt. There's a great super chat. But there's lots happening this weekend, mate. And the first game I wanted to speak to you about was City versus Liverpool. There's news that Haaland might be out and missing. But before we get onto Haaland, how are you feeling about this game? Are you confident that you'll have enough to get past this Liverpool team?
Listen, going into the international break, we weren't beaten in 10 games. We were looking superb, you know what I mean? Ruben Dias was back. We were ticking along. Haaland was kicking into gear. Do you know what I mean? So we were looking great. The only worry is after an international break is, can you continue that? You know, hopefully it doesn't upset the rhythm. Speak about rhythm all the time. But there's no better game or bigger game for us to dive straight back into. The intensity of the game is going to be there. It's not like we're going to get caught cold and maybe go in thinking we're going to roll someone over and then get caught. I think we know where we've got to be. I know we've got to be on it. Phil Foden's definitely out. He's had his appendix out, so he's out. He's missing. Shame for Phil. He was just getting onto form. And Haaland, yeah, if he's injured, it's a massive miss, because look at him, the numbers he's stacking up just before the break, smashing people apart. He looks really, really deadly in front of goal. But listen, we'll cope. We're Man City. We've got a good squad. We'll cope. We'll have to play Alvarez if we need to play Alvarez. We'll play a false nine if we have to. Kevin De Bruyne the other night was, ticking along nice. So we're doing all right. We know what we got to do. Like you said, start of the show, the business starts now. You know, there's no better manager or team that are prepared for the running than us. We know what we got to do. So we can't afford to lose. We can't afford to draw. It's just Operation Win now, all the way at the end of the season.
It absolutely is. And do you feel like Haaland, do you think he will play? I know you're saying that you've got Alvarez if not, but do you think it's been a bit like Rashford with United? There's another player, I think, who was linked to not play, like Thomas Partey. Arsenal were trying to do the same with him. He's being assessed. He might not be ready. Do you think Haaland will be ready to play that game?
I believe he had a bit of a tight groin against Burnley. He scored them goals. He took him off. He went out on international duty. He got there with the Norway team. I seen pictures of him, and then they assessed him and said, "Nah, it's not worth the risk." So with something like that, it depends how he's gone on in training. He's probably got 3 days of training where he can really test it. If he's still feeling it, they ain't going to risk. They'd rather lose him for 2 or 3 games than the full 10. So it's one of them injuries where with a groin you don't want to push it. So we honestly don't know if it's mind games from him. I don't know. Time will tell. 11 o'clock Saturday morning when the teams are announced. So fingers crossed he's in.
Yeah, and how do you see? I mean, how do you see the game prediction wise? It's at the Etihad, right? You're going to be there, aren't you? You may be there at the Etihad yourself. You'll be there for the game, definitely.
Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I fancy us. Like I say, I fancy us. We've got to get it done. There's no ifs, buts, maybes. We've got to get it done. Liverpool are a tough side. You don't know what Liverpool you're going to get. If you get the Bournemouth Liverpool, you fancy City to wipe the floor with them. If you get the 7-0 Man United Liverpool, it's going to be hard work. So, listen, it is what it is. It's Liverpool at home. It's always a tough game. The teams, we never do really well against Liverpool at Anfield, but at the Etihad, we have done okay. So I'm confident that we can get the job done, yeah.
I want you to win because I want Liverpool's hopes of top 4 gone. I think you're going to draw the game, though. I think you're going to, that's just my feeling about this is I think you're going to draw the game. We'll move on to Arsenal a bit later, but I just feel this is going to, I don't know, the 12:30 game, Liverpool almost playing with an element of freedom because they're not expected to win. And I just think City are I do think you're going to crumble in this title race slightly. And I don't mean that as in you're going to fall away and be, 15 points behind or something crazy like that. But I just think Liverpool are going to nick a draw here. Just my gut feeling says Liverpool draw. But part of me, even though I've predicted Arsenal to win the league and I want Arsenal to stop you from doing a three-peat, I really do. What I want you to do is smash Liverpool. But because I want you to beat them so bad, I feel like you're going to drop points. I think that's what it is more than anything. Because I want you to beat Liverpool. And I want you to beat them bad. I want you to put 6, 7, 8 goals past them. I really want you to humble them. But
I'll take 1-0, mate. I'll take 1-0.
I bet. Viewers, let us know who you think is going to win. We've got a poll running right now with 40% thinking it's going to be a City win, 39% thinking it's going to be a Liverpool win. In terms of Liverpool, what do you think has gone wrong with them this year? Do you feel like, is this just an anomaly year? Or like a lot of people are saying, do you think Klopp's kind of come to the end of the road with them?
No, I don't think so. I think what's happened with Liverpool last season, mentally, physically, took a lot out of them. They were fighting on all fronts. We did it a few years ago, same, fighting on all fronts. I don't think they strengthened the areas they needed to strengthen. I think they put a lot into Darwin. The midfield is weak. It seems to be declining. Certain games have been going in there with Carvalho, Elliott, Fabinho. Fabinho looks like he's aged about 10 years after last season, so I don't know how he's dropped off. Big Verge isn't the same player. Liverpool fans can argue the toss what you want, but he's not the same player. He seems to have dropped off a bit. I just think they're in need of a shake-up, but they're in no man's land at the minute with it. Did they go all out and get Jude and get the one player who's a fantastic player? Or do they have to miss out on Jude and go for 3 or 4 and strengthen the core of the team? I believe they need to strengthen the core of the team because where they are now in the league compared to what they were doing last season is a massive drop-off. And I don't think they're getting talked about enough. I think if Man City had dropped off that bad, we'd be getting ripped apart. They'd be calling for Pep's head. But listen, I like Jurgen Klopp. I've got a lot of respect for him. I've got a lot of respect for Liverpool. When you're challenging for a title with them, you can only breed respect. You know what I mean? When you're fighting with a team like that. And I just think there's a few problems behind the scenes that Jurgen's got to get right and the board have got to back him.
Yeah, listen, everyone knows I think Jurgen Klopp is a world-class manager. I really do. I think he's been brilliant in the Premier League. There is no doubt about it. Liverpool, though, there are problems at the club, and it's such an embarrassing season for them to go from challenging for that quad, being 20 minutes away from winning the Prem. They were. You could argue that they weren't unlucky against Real Madrid in the final. Courtois was just pulling off save, but a little bit of dodgy defending from Trent at the far post and um, Van Dijk for the cross coming through, and they go from nearly winning a quad. Look, winning 2 trophies is brilliant. Man United might win 2 this year. I'm going to be very happy. To a year later, struggling to make the top 4. It's the humbling of that and the embarrassment of it is a lot for them to take. And I think you're right. The fact that they invested in 2 attackers and they haven't improved that midfield is crazy. And now they're linked with lots of midfielders. Mason Mount might be on his way there. There's Jude Bellingham, as you mentioned. But I feel like if they sign Jude Bellingham, as you say, is it RFSG going to invest any more money elsewhere? If they just sign Jude Bellingham, it isn't enough for me to move the needle. They need a revamp in the defense as well, because they're going to continue playing the high line next year. And I don't see how bringing in Jude Bellingham fixes their high line. He's not a deep lying centre back. He's not a holding midfield player. He's an attacking midfield player, which means they'll expose themselves even more. So I do look at it and think maybe a new right back's needed. Definitely a new centre back at some degree. I think like even the Dutch now are calling out the likes of Van Basten and Ruud Gullit are slamming Van Dijk, just saying he isn't the guy he was. So I think Liverpool need to look at those areas as well, because they can buy another striker and another top midfielder in Jude Bellingham. That's not going to stop that high line and those defenders from being absolutely exploited the way they do, because they've been worked out. And people will probably comment 7-0. Yeah, great, you beat us 7-0, but that doesn't make up for a terrible season, and that doesn't make you in your heart of hearts feel better about how bad your defense has been all year. So you can have that little win all you want, but at the end of the day, you've got to improve those areas. And yeah, that's why you should be beating them this weekend as well. Like at the Etihad, you should be beating them.
You just don't know which. You just don't. After if before that 7-0, yeah. No one. People are thinking City's going there and taking them apart. At the Etihad, but because they've got that in the locker, you've got to be wary about it, because we beat them early on in the season in the cup, and they had chances. Darwin Núñez had a 3 or 4 one-on-ones, dragging it wide, because the way City play, believe it or not, plays into Liverpool's hands a lot of the time, because it's end-to-end, always end-to-end City-Liverpool, because we leave ourselves wide open and they can get us on the counter-attack. If Trent likes to spray them balls right across the pitch, put us on the back foot, we got to be dead careful. But we've just got to, we've let him off the hook a few times though. When we should have buried him, we've let him off the hook. So I'm just looking forward to a really good game of football. But I think if City come out of this game with a win, then gives us massive confidence going forward. Then massive, because Arsenal's got to go to Anfield, and you'd rather play Liverpool at home than Anfield, because that place is mad. You know what I mean? It's a mad place. If the crowd get up for that there, it can be a long night. But it is what it is. I'm just looking forward to the game, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like whatever the result, I'm looking forward to it. It's a great way to welcome back the Premier League after the international breaks are okay, but they always feel so long-winded. And I think with what we know to come, this epic title race that's about to kick off.